guys, my name is Ella and I'm a nursing student here at Casper College, and I'm going to talk to you guys just a little bit about blood pressure today. Did you guys know that nearly half of the adults of the US have high blood pressure or hypertension, and many don't even realize it? I recently took a CNA class where we learned how to take it manually, and today I'll walk you through the 3 easy steps, including gathering all the necessary supplies, applying and pumping up the blood pressure cuff, and finally calculating the blood pressure. I'm currently enrolled in the nursing program at Casper College, so I'll be doing this quite a bit, but whether you're in the medical field, caring for a loved one, or just curious, learning how to take blood pressure is a very valuable skill. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first step is to just gather all the necessary equipment. You will need a stethoscope, a manual blood pressure cuff, and then of course a patient, which we're going to be using myself just as a demonstration today. I got my blood pressure cuff and stethoscope off of Amazon, so it doesn't need to be anything fancy, it just needs to be able to get the job done. And then your patient should be sitting upright, palm up, with their arm extended on the table like this. And then next you're going to want to find their brachial artery using your pointer and middle fingers here. And the brachial artery is going to be up here, kind of by your bicep, maybe a little bit lower down. It's harder to find on different people. You don't want to use your thumb, due to the abundance of nerves and calluses there. But once you find it, this is going to determine where we place the blood pressure cuff once we get there. So don't be afraid to really move around that muscle and feel around until you feel the pulse through your brachial artery. By your bicep, maybe a little bit lower down. It's harder to find on different people. You don't want to use your thumb, due to the abundance of nerves and calluses there. But once you find it, this is going to determine where we place the blood pressure cuff once we get there. So don't be afraid to really move around that muscle and feel around until you feel the pulse through your brachial artery. Okay, now that we've gathered all the necessary tools, we can now listen to the blood pressure. You're going to apply the blood pressure cuff to your patient with your stethoscope at the ready, and then your stethoscope is going to be placed opposite of your elbow on the bend of your arm here, and the head of it, the large part, will be facing down on your arm. You're going to slowly pump up to 160 on the pressure gauge here. You'll see it's on a numerical scale, and we're just going to slowly pump that up until it hits 160. From there, we'll be able to slowly let it down. And you're going to be listening intently for a heavy thump in your ears of your stethoscope. You're going to want to note when on the pressure gauge you begin to hear that heavy thump, as well as when you can no longer hear it anymore, as both of these numbers will be important in the final blood pressure reading. We have finished the hard part, and the only thing left to do is to calculate the blood pressure. So you're going to want to recall the number on the gauge when you begin to hear that heavy thump in your ears, as well as when you can no longer hear it anymore. When you begin to hear it, that is when your heart beats, and it's called your systolic pressure. And then when you can no longer hear that heavy thump, that is your diastolic pressure. That is when your heart rests. And then the blood pressure reading is simply your systolic pressure over your diastolic pressure. I wrote it down here, and a good example of this would be 110/70. So in this situation, we began to hear that heavy thump when the pressure gauge was at 110, and then we could no longer hear it anymore at 70. So their final blood pressure reading would be 110/70. All right, congratulations. You now know how to take somebody's blood pressure. Knowing how to take blood pressure is a simple yet very important skill that can help to monitor health or even save lives. Today we went over 3 key steps: gathering all the necessary supplies, applying and pumping up the blood pressure cuff, and finally calculating the blood pressure. So the next time you pick up a blood pressure cuff, you just might know what you're doing.